Welcome. In this video, I'm going to go through and talk to you all about how to buy a Power Wheels, also referred to as a ride-on car. We're going to go through and break it down and let you know what you need to go for, because if you don't do the right thing in certain areas, unfortunately, you're going to have a vehicle that's not moving. It could be a dud, it could be broken, it could just not have enough power, it might not have the best weight limit. We're going to go over and explain this, and I'm going to make it as easy as possible for you. So before we get started, who am I to talk about this? Well, I've been running rcrideoncars.com for over 5 years. I also have this YouTube channel, and I've been into ride-on cars pretty much my whole life. My kids love them, and I've done lots of videos putting them together and writing guides, everything like that on the website. So let's go through and get started and show another view. So here we are at my website, and I'm just using this as demonstration purposes because this is where I feel the best information is, because that's what I do. I do the best I can to get the information for you to make the best choice to purchase a ride-on or Power Wheels. Now, some people refer to all of these cars as Power Wheels. That's actually the #1 brand, and they became so popular that a lot of people refer to them as Power Wheels. However, that's more copyrighted, and these are actually called ride-on cars. If it says RC ride-on cars, that means there's a remote control, and you also have that option as well. Here we're at RC ride-on cars, and I'm just going to go down, buy Power Wheels, read more. This is going to take me to all the purchase ones, and we're going to go through, and today we're going to look at best 4x4 Power Wheels, and I already have it open here. So when you get into it, basically you're going to get the title, and you're going to get all the list here. I also have it broken down and go over everything that you need to know and other links here that'll take you to read more. And here we have the first tables. Now there's more than just this. This is kind of like the quick table to give you an idea. And I'm going to go over all of this as well. So for this one, it is about rubber wheels, EVA wheels, or plastic wheels. So we're going to go through that too, and you can see all the information broken down. Now there's different brands. There's a lot of different brands, and some of these brands are white label brands, which means they take a certain car, they slap their name on it, and they just resell it. So you want to make sure you're going with someone that doesn't do that. A lot of the ones that I recommend, for example, is Sopos. I think they're a very solid brand. They are new on the block, and because of that, they're kind of doing some innovations that I would do if I ran my own label, which I'd love to do one day. I just don't have the funds to start a company like that. So let's break it down. What do we look for first? First of all, if you're getting something for a child, there's different types of batteries. There's the 6-volt, 12, and 24. Unless you're going to be running it inside and your kid is really young, say 2, maybe 3 years old, I would stay away from the 6-volt. Even if the 6-volt does work well, it'll only work well for so long and stop working. I would definitely go with a 12-volt to start off, and a 24 if you can afford it or your kid is older and heavier, because weight is going to make a difference. The more weight on the vehicle, the more the battery has to push, and the more power you're going to lose as your child continues to get older. Because you want to try to purchase one for 3-4 year segment. You don't want to just have it for that 1 year and then be done. It's just not worth the investment. So first, let's get into weight. Now that you know, stay away from 6 volts unless they're very young. Also, speaking of very young, they say you don't want to have a kid in these vehicles unless they can sit up by themselves, but also use your own discretion. So once you go through and decide that, you're going to look at weight. So here I have all the weight set up, and you can see these are some big weight limits. This is 110 pounds, that's solid. 220, that's really solid. And you're also looking for how many riders. If you have 2 younger kids, all right, you can do 2. If you have an older and a younger, maybe you can do 2, but a lot of these, when they have 2 passengers, there's not a whole lot of room for 2 kids. So usually they're on the younger side, or there's room for 1 bigger kid. If you're looking for kids that are larger, you definitely want to go through for the max weight if you're going 2, and even with the 1. Okay, so what am I looking for? Well, you want to go through and look for a brand that you rely on, and I only use the brands that I do rely on. And these are those. Like I said, Sopos, I really see doing a very good job coming out with innovations and stuff like that. So that's why I put them here. When you're looking for battery, you're going to look, again, like I said, 12 or 24 volt. You can see this one's 12 volt and then 10 AH. What is AH? Well, let me go through and kind of make it a little easier for you. That's amperage hours. But the only thing you really need to know is that's how much energy can be stored in the battery. Yes, it's a 12 volt and it can be filled up to 7 amperage hours, or for this one, 10 amperage hours. Most ride-on cars, the bare minimum I've ever seen anyone use is 7. So if you're looking at 7, you might get, say, a 45-minute runtime, and if it's a 10, you might get an hour runtime. So that's pretty important to know. Unfortunately, a lot of cars don't go above 7. Sometimes they go 10, but it's not that often. So it's nice when they do, because you're going to see a lot of comments not complaining about the battery as much as the other ones would be. Great, so now you have a good idea about the batteries. One last thing about batteries is when it does say 24 volt, it's not always 24 volts. Some of these companies go through and try to trick you, and they'll put two 12 volts running in what's called series and have it that way. Now, you're probably looking at double the runtime because of all of that battery, but you're not getting the true 24 volt power. So keep that in mind. Also, and when they are 24 volts and it's true power like that, they are going to be upgrading the motors, the wiring, and everything like that to handle the 24 volts, which is really nice. If it's 12 volts running in a series, two 12 volts together, then they can keep the wires pretty much at 12 volts and not upgrade them. It's nice to have upgraded wires and stuff in case you ever want to do anything like a drill battery conversion later on. I have a whole video on that. I'll go through and put it up top if you're interested. That's more when you need more power than's provided in a car. Great modifications. I also have an amazing modification article that goes over everything that's linked in every video, so you could check that out. Before we go any further, if you do check out RC Ride-On Cars, I'm just going to show you here. We do have a pop-up here to join our group. So if you're looking to get emails on RC Ride-On Cars, you can go through and join this. One click to remove, to unsubscribe if you just change your mind later. Also, you get this free ebook, Secrets to Maintaining and Repair of a RC Ride-On Car. This is a full guide. You have this. This is pretty much everything you're going to need to know. So it's really nice. I do recommend it. If you don't want to join the email list, we also do sell it in the shop. But this way you can get it for free. And also updates from us. You'll get updates about what's going on. Also, if I have any discount codes or any special sales, I'll let you know. And anytime we have something going on, you'll go through and receive an email from it. But don't worry, it's not 1,000 emails. It's maybe 1 email per week. Back to here. So now we go through and we know all about the batteries, and that's a big thing. So next we need to know about power, because is the vehicle going to move? Well, a lot of times they kind of bury this information, but you can find it. So first of all, here you can see this Sophos is 4 motors at 35 watts each. So each motor is running at 35 watts each. So that's a pretty solid power display. Now keep in mind, it's nice to have these motors running so great, because the higher they are, the more power they're going to put out. But the higher they are, the more power they're going to use too in the battery. So keep that in mind. 4 motors, it means there's 1 on each wheel, which makes the vehicle 4-wheel drive, all-wheel drive, however you want to say it in their lingo. If it says 2 motors, that means it's just rear or front wheel drive. Now this article itself is about 4-wheel drive, so it's just going to be showing 4-wheel drive. Do they have seat belts? Parental remotes, that's RC remotes. I have the full checklist here: headlights, horn, music options. This one is a 4x4, does have rubber tires. Rubber tires are pretty rare. Now there is EVA tires, which are kind of similar. So first you have the plastic tires, which are not so great. They'll work, they'll be on your cheaper models, they'll run down, and after that strip in the middle is gone, you're pretty much not going to be moving too well. Then you have the EVA tires. That's plastic with rubber combined. So this way you get some more movement, you get some more traction, and a lot of people go this route. You're not going to see rubber tires unless you go to very, very high options. For some reason, a lot of people don't like using them, but I feel like they run the best. You're probably looking at it on more of like quads. The Razor Quad is amazing. That my son has that, and it's not on this list, but it is on this list, 10 fastest power wheels. You can see here, that is my son right there a few years ago. But you can see those are real rubber wheels, and that ride is one of the best if you have an older kid. And you can see here, it doesn't have much of the other stuff, because it's a quad, but it does have the rubber wheels. So now you know about wheels. What's next? Well, like I said, speed's an important thing. Sometimes you'll go to my site and you'll see 1.85 to 5 miles per hour. That usually means there's multiple options, so you can go through and adjust. There's either what they call a lockout screw, which is a screw that you have to remove and change the speed and put it in, or it'll just be like a regular shifter and you just shift it to high, low, or medium. Usually, for the most part, the low usually goes about 2.5 miles and the high goes 5 miles. Now, if you have ones with more than one, then they'll just adjust it that way. Most ride-ons go to the speed of 5 miles per hour, though you can find some that are faster, as I just showed you my 10 fastest Power Wheels. If we clicked over to here, you can see the Razor does go 8 miles per hour, and I can vouch for that. That thing's pretty quick. And down here, you start getting into different types of vehicles if you want more speed. So the Power Wheels themselves, you're probably looking at about 7.5 miles per hour top speed without modifications. When you're working with the battery, if you can't figure out how long the ride-on goes to, I actually do have a how long does a Power Wheels battery run per charge. And you can go down and there's an actual calculator. You put the voltage, so we'll say 24 volts. You put the amperage hours, 10, and let's see what else we had here. 24, 10, 54 watts each. So number of motors 4, wattage 54. And I try to get all of this information that I can. I use every source I can to try to get this information. Then you hit calculate and it'll give you estimated battery life 1.11 hours. So that'll give you an idea. Of course, you do have to keep in mind how heavy the rider is. If they are on the heavier side, this number is going to go down. If they're on the lighter side, this number is going to go up. If they're in the middle, this number should be pretty accurate. Now, they also do have ages to give you an idea, but to be honest, ages doesn't matter as much as the weight. The weight's very important, and again, you need to make sure they're old enough to ride the vehicle to start. When it comes to music options, music built in, it's not the greatest music. It's usually some fast-paced music that'll get you moving, and they usually also have a story time. You might hit a button and it'll tell stories instead, which is really nice. And then you'll also usually have an area to plug in either an iPhone or use Bluetooth. Bluetooth is nice because then you can go ahead and hook it up to your phone, and you have the remote so you can control the vehicle anytime you want, or you can control their music or story as well. That way they can focus on the vehicle and focus on driving. I definitely recommend low speed the first time your child gets in the vehicle because they want to get used to it before giving them that top speed. Also, make sure you understand where you're driving the vehicle. If it's going to be in a hilly area, you're going to want more powerful vehicle. If it's going to be on a blacktop, probably don't need as much power, but you do want some grip, so make sure you get at least EVA tires or better. When you receive the vehicle, you do have to go through and install it. We do have some install guides on my YouTube channel. You can check that out. If I don't have them, then I'm always trying to get them, so I'm always reaching out to brands to try to go through and get more vehicles. However, it gets expensive buying them myself, so it does get a little rough. If you want to support the channel with this and you're going through and making a purchase, you can go through my website and choose to check at Amazon links. Those are affiliate links. Also, when you get the vehicle, make sure you know if you're getting a remote, there are no batteries included in the remote. A lot of times, 95% of the time, there's not going to be any batteries, and you're going to need a little screwdriver, which it may come with to open the remote case. It does, however, come with a bigger battery and a charger. The majority do anyway. A lot of times they do not come charged, so you need to go through and charge it. Not only that, they want you to do a long charge for the first time because it's just safer for the battery to charge it a long time when you get it. Make sure you check your manufacturer recommendations. They can be up to charge for 10 hours. They could say don't charge longer than 10 hours your first time. They could say charge 16 hours. All of them are different. It's mainly your first charge that's important. After that, you'll plug it in and you'll usually see a red light, and then once the red light turns green, you're good to go. For charging, most of these are going to be under your seat or where your feet are. Underneath there's just like a area to plug the cord in, and you can go through and charge it that way. Most of these are also keyless entry, so there's no keys to come with. There's an off and on switch, and then you just press and go. When you're done, make sure you go through and turn it off. If you don't, you're going to drain your battery. When putting the Power Wheels away, you want to grab it from the back of the vehicle and pull it up, and the ride should simply move easily for you. If you try to move it anyway, pushing it or anything like that, you're going to get resistance because the wheels are locked. Some of them even have a handle in the back to make it easier. When looking at some of these vehicles, for example, the rubber tires, the upgraded, This is a beast of a vehicle. I'm not sure on the AH. I've still not been able to find that. But this one says it can go up to 11 miles per hour and it's pretty strong motors. So you can take a look at something like that. And runtime is estimate the best I can. Sometimes I use a calculator depending what information I have. But this one is going to be 1 to 2 hours. I also go through and use reviews, and if I purchase the vehicle myself, I run my tests myself. A lot of these vehicles look huge in the videos, but they're not that big, so just know they're usually smaller than what you see, but once in a while you'll be able to find the larger ones. If you're looking for a larger one, you're looking for something with XXL or XXXL, and I'll go through and give you an idea that it's could handle a larger child. I think that's mostly everything. You can see on my website, I explain a lot of this. I talk about plastic tires, EVA tires. You can see that strip running across for the EVA, and then you have your rubber tires. I also always recommend this RZR because it's amazing. Not only that, they do have an upgraded version of this. So if your kid is even larger, I think it's 240 and it goes 12 miles instead of 8 miles. This can go through, and the upgrade version, when available, can really go well. This is like your version down from actually getting onto a four-wheeler, but much more safer. I hope this helps make your buying process simpler. Again, you can check out the website if you're looking for anything specific. We have fastest, we have 4x4, best 24 volts, power wheels for over 100 pounds, best two-seaters. This is a new version, so you could check out this one, and you know, a RZR review, and then like some unboxings. We got a little bit of everything all over the channel, so you could definitely check it out and let me know what you think. There's a lot of great brands out there, so I hope this really helped. Again, any questions, leave them down below and I'll answer them to make sure I get everything set up in here. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope I'm able to reach out to you in the newsletter.